what's up everyone? Trent here. Today, we're going to talk about life in Dallas, Texas. Immediately upon graduating college in 2018, I packed up my Ford Focus with all my belongings, drove cross country from Ohio to Texas, moved myself into Dallas, and have been here for about a year and a half. If you're thinking about moving to Dallas or have ever wondered, I wonder what it's like to live in Dallas, Texas, I'm going to bring you a firsthand experience about what it's actually like. I think the factors that are most important to consider that I'm going to break down are weather, food, transportation/infrastructure, social scene, and cost. Before getting into the content, if you guys have a pulse, I need you to hammer the subscribe and like button for me. Thank you very much. Let's go. One of the major reasons I left the Midwest to go to Texas was because I was told it's always going to be warm and sunny in Texas. The reality of it is that it does get pretty hot in the summers, but it never gets too cold to the point where you need to wear a heavy jacket, or it never snows. You don't need to clean off your car in the mornings. I looked it up, and the average temperature is between 38 degrees on the low end and 96 degrees on the high end. So just put that in perspective and pan it out, and if you like those temperatures, it could be for you. Couple quick side points. It does get really hot in the summers, which turns some people off. But if you work inside all day, it's kind of neutralized because most buildings have AC and it doesn't really matter. You're kind of just going to your car in the morning when it's not too hot, and then in the evening when the sun's pretty much down. In the summer, the pool season's pretty big. There's a couple different pool seasons, that early, late spring, that midsummer, late summer. So it's pretty cool to have that. Overall, I think the weather's great. You can wear shorts in December, which I think is amazing. So I would definitely give the check of approval. Weather in Dallas, good. Fun fact of today, there are approximately 13,763 restaurants in Dallas. If you tried to eat at every one, it would take you between 37 and 38 years to eat at every one. Okay, the food scene in Dallas may be a little better in New York. That's arguable. But I think no matter what city you go to, there will be a strong food scene. No matter where you are, people need food to survive, so there will be food establishments. I think Dallas has a pretty good food scene because it's a concrete jungle and there's a bunch of bars and restaurants, so a lot of food. I'd say there's every chain imaginable within a 5-mile radius of wherever you are. From a specialty boutique and restaurant standpoint, there definitely is fine dining, and there's not a ton of cultural, besides Latino as in Tex-Mex, there's not a ton of cultural diversity in food. There may be a Mediterranean restaurant here, an Italian place there, but it's not super diverse. You're going to get some great steakhouses. I'd say what Texas is known for, especially Dallas, is tacos and Tex-Mex. A couple of my top favorites that I want to list, should you find yourself in Dallas, are Breadwinners for brunch, hands down the best brunch. Pecan Lodge barbecue, a lot of good barbecue. Pecan Lodge is up at the top for me, near the top. There's some other good ones as well. Nick and Sam's is my favorite fine dining restaurant. Unbelievable experience. 60 Vines is a close follow-up. I think it's got a great vibe. I'd check it out as well. It's more of a American type restaurant. A lot of American restaurants. Katy Trail Ice House, amazing spot. You can sit outside. A lot of people will fit there, and it's right on the Katy Trail. Really great to go on a weekend day, on a nice day, and just sit outside and drink some beer. And then best pizza, which I'm going to be ordering tonight, is either Zalat or I Fratelli. They deliver, and that's the food scene in Dallas. Transportation and infrastructure. How easily are you able to get around? I'd say this is a major strong point of Dallas. The roads are pretty nice. There's a tollway. There's never too much traffic, and that's one of the things that really surprised me being in the city and living in it for about a year and a half is on a Friday night or a Saturday morning, there's never too many cars around. There's a pandemic going on right now, but back when that wasn't happening, it still was never too busy. There's absolutely no nature or scenic places in Dallas, so I usually like to equate our highway structures to our mountains or our scenic landmarks because the highways are insane. Google a picture of Dallas highways and you'll say, wow, that's engineering beauty. But Dallas, so one of the drawbacks is Dallas is a major driving city. You must have a car. There's nowhere you can really go and just walk around and be able to get by like a New York or a Chicago. Everything's a little spread out, and I think that leads to the lack of traffic. Dallas is still developing, but the infrastructure in place is in a way where it's very easy to get around. There's never too much traffic, and you really can get to where you need to go, which is all that matters. The social scene in Dallas is pretty strong. I came across a stat that the median age in Dallas is 32 years old, and in 2017, about 10,371 millennials moved here. Me personally, I moved here and I had 2 roommates, which made it a lot easier to meet people. But the majority of people we have met over the last year and a half, most of them aren't from Texas. It seems like there's just troves of young people moving here. There's a lot of opportunity from a job standpoint. So many young people are moving here, which makes it a lot easier to meet people, therefore a strong social scene. The main neighborhoods you would want to live in and look at are Knox Henderson, that's where I live, Uptown, that's where I lived last year. Lower Greenville is pretty cool, and there's a place called Deep Ellum, which is a little bit sketchier, but there's a very unique nightlife out there, probably one of the more liberal cultural places in Dallas. Overall, you're going to find a ton of bars. It's a concrete jungle, like we said right earlier. A lot of bars and restaurants, so there's a lot of places to go drink, meet people, sit outside, do what you got to do. Overall, it seems like a lot of young people are moving here. TCU, UT Dallas, and SMU are all within mile. TCU is a little farther away, but they're all really close to the city. So there's that young population. There's a lot of people moving here because of the jobs, and it's just a good place to be. From a cost standpoint, I'd say Dallas is pretty solid. First off, there's absolutely no state income tax, so you may actually make more money in Dallas than you would otherwise. I'd say relative to the coastal cities like the Washington, New York, places in California, it's much more inexpensive than those areas. But relative to the more Midwest places and more central U.S., it's probably a little bit more expensive. The average rent, I believe, is $1,250. So put that in perspective. Based on my personal experience, you can definitely pay a lot less than that, especially if you have roommates. I had roommates each of the last 2 years, and that's helped me drive down the price while also enabled me to get in much nicer places because the cost is driven down by roommates. Overall, life costs money. So the more money you have, the less you got to worry about money. But if you are conscious of money, Dallas, I believe, is a good starter place. No income tax, so you can save your money. And nothing's outrageously expensive. A beer is, depending on where you are, maybe $4 to $8 to sometimes over $10, depending on where you are. But you're not going to get killed from a price standpoint. And as long as you watch your budget, I feel like your cost and lifestyle really dictates how much you spend wherever you are. And so overall, cost is pretty decent. I think it only comes down to you asking yourself, what do you want out of a city or in life? I hope this video has helped uncover some different ways to look at Dallas, and if you're thinking about moving in general, some different aspects to consider about a city. Personally, my experience in Dallas, I think it's a great starter city. The majority of people come here, especially in the inner city, are renters, younger people, a lot of jobs, and no income tax. So I think it's a great place to start out. Really meet some different diverse people, which will enhance your network while also saving money. From a long-term standpoint, I like the weather. One of the main drawbacks is there's absolutely no nature. There's nowhere to really go hike or sightsee or do anything like that. Also, from a cultural standpoint, it's a bit limited. I'm not one to really go to museums or shows or whatnot, but there's not a huge scene for that, at least not one that I've seen. I'm sure it's there. Overall, I think it's a great place to be. When you compare it to Austin, I think there's a lot of differences. That's just the immediate city in Texas. But overall, I think Dallas is a great place to be. And if you've enjoyed this video, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more. I don't think people care as much about me just talking about life in general. So I think I'm going to shift my strategy here on YouTube more towards how to make money online and passive income. If you're interested in that, subscribe also. We got more content like that on the way. Thanks, guys.